It's 6 o'clock. Hi, everybody. How you doing? Dave Fennoy here, and it is Ask Dave Fennoy Anything on this last Wednesday of January 2019. Now, I don't know about you, but it already seems like 2019 is going by very, very fast. I don't know what happened to this month. We're just about at February, and it's fewer days, and it's going to go by even faster. Anyway, hey, Frankie, Pam, Dahlia, Jen, Kevin, Trakina, Arturo, thanks for stopping by. And I know a few other folks are going to stop by. If you've got your questions, go on and put them in the comments right there, and I'll go through. Hey, Ellen, how you doing? Lee Michaels, what's going on? Radio legend. Christina. While I'm waiting on some questions, let me go through a couple of things here. It's still kind of sort of the beginning of the year. I was talking to somebody about that today, that, usually December, you're doing your plans for the following year, and I was busy doing some things, and I'll get that in January, and then I was off to London, other things in my life. And here it is, just about February, and I'm just planning the changes on my website. And I guess the lesson in that is better late than never. But make sure that you treat your voiceover career as just that. If you have a job that you're working, you're going to get up and be at work on time every day, or at least that's what you're trying to do. And whatever job you're working, let me just say that you should treat that job, whether somebody else is writing the check or whoever that person is, consider that you are working for yourself. That way you don't feel like, I'm just doing this for that person. You want to show up great in whatever job you're doing, so that maybe somebody else comes along, sees what a great job you're doing, and says, oh, wow, you're really good. Let me take you from behind that burger stand and put you someplace a little better, because I like the way you treat customers. I like the way you work. And once you've stepped into your voiceover career, you've got to treat it the same way. Now you're working for yourself and your clients. And you want to treat your clients good. You want to show up on time. And although from time to time I had a student today and was late getting back from a gig, so I was a little late, so it doesn't always work out. But you want to give your best all the time. You want people to come away going, wow, I expected A, B, but I got A, B, C, and on through Z. Keep it as a daily job. If you work Monday through Friday, you should be working on your voiceover career Monday through Friday. And most of the time, the things that we are doing, auditioning, trying to get auditions, and doing actual gigs. I've been known to say that your real work is to audition. Once you book the job, now you're just having fun. I had a lot of fun today. If you have an agent and you are getting plenty of auditions, great. Do as many as you can, and you're going to book a certain amount of those. If you're not getting a lot of auditions, or you don't have an agent, then you have to do the things to get those auditions. Because much like sales, salesmen will tell you all the time that, you make so many calls, you're going to hear so many no's before you get a yes. Well, the same thing happens with auditions. I don't care how good you are, how wonderful your voice, nobody's going to book everything, or even the majority of what they audition for. So the more you can audition, the more you're going to book. And that may mean a lot of do-it-yourself. You might go on Mandy.com and find the voiceover jobs there. You might go on Craigslist and find the jobs there, because there are jobs there. You might do a Google search of insert whatever the category here is. Maybe it's e-learning. Maybe it's corporate narration. Maybe it's audiobooks. and find out who the producers are. Of course, all the audiobooks people are going to tell me ACX. But find those places that would be looking for your services and systematically get in touch with them. You don't want to get everybody all at once, I went on LinkedIn and I've got 200 video game developers that you sent your request to be associated with them, and then you did nothing about it because you sent the request, they said okay, but you didn't really get any communication going with them. Pick 5, maybe 10, and send them all a letter. Tell them who you are, what it is you're doing. And I'm not just talking about video games, but the e-learning producers, the corporate NAIR producers, commercial producers, random television stations around the country that may be looking for promo voices. All of that, if you have to do it yourself. Make sure your demos are up to date and cover what it is you want to do. I can't tell you how many people get in touch with me. Hey, I want to do voiceover and I'm going to get in touch with these people, but you're not ready to get in touch with these people because you don't have anything for them to hear. All they know is they got an email from somebody that said they're interested in, they do voiceover and might I help your company out, and they're okay. Well, where's the website? Where are the demos? You don't get in touch before you're ready for them to check you out. Continuing education. I've been known. It's been a couple of years now, but I've been known to take classes still because I want somebody's ears that I trust to help me get out of my own way. When I may not be booking in a particular area that I was booking in before. Well, why? What's going on? Let me get somebody else's ears on what I'm doing, and somebody who's able to make some suggestions about how I can modernize my read. Speaking of which, listen to what's out there. What kind of voices are they booking for television and radio commercials now? Of course, you're going to hear, there'll be a few bombastic, typical radio voice kind of guys. But what are you really hearing? We should be the people that when you're watching television and the commercials come on, we should turn it up. Check out what the marketplace is buying and find those places in you that bring you in that direction. What voices are you hearing that have some similarity to you? Every now and then lift your head up and look around. I know the world is moving very fast. Technology is changing so fast. Every now and then you just have to, wait a minute, let me put everything down. Let me turn off the microphone for a minute and let's look at the landscape of the world and this business. What am I missing? What has changed that I need to catch up with? All right. Well, we'll get back to that in a little bit. I think we probably have some questions. Oh, Virginia Watson, what's going on? Hey, Sean, how you doing? Kevin Michael Henderson. What's up, my brother? Come to Maine. You know what? Not right now. It's a little cold over the rest of the country. I'm so glad to be in Southern California. Arturo, greetings from Barbados. What's your home setup like, and what do you usually use on the road for VO equipment-wise? Okay, I know I've answered this before, but I'll do it again. I have a whisper room. It's a 5x7 whisper room. I have a collection of mics for the last 3 or 4 months. I've had my Sennheiser 416 hung. And it is going to an Affix channel strip. I also have an Avalon 737 that I like very much. Generally, if I'm not using my 416, I'll be using a Neumann TLM 103. I lately have been doing some testing of microphones with Blue Microphone, And my contact there was at NAM, and he's recovering, and he's going to bring me some blue microphones to test out in my studio within the week or so. That is pretty much my setup. Oh, you asked me about travel. When I travel, I have a laptop and I have an iPad that I take with me. I can use one or the other. I take both just in case one of them breaks down, which happened to me on this trip. My battery went bad and in my laptop, and it started pushing up the touch screen, the touchpad, and ultimately couldn't use it, and then it wouldn't stay on. Thank goodness I had my iPad with me. Microphone-wise, I take an Apogee iPad mic. I've also been known to take my Sennheiser MK4 with the Apogee connection. And instead of building pillow forts anymore, what I use is the Chaotica eyeball. And you just stick the microphone in there, and it cuts out all the sound bounce. And hopefully you're in a quiet room. And away you go. Okay. Don't be using the name of my one-woman show. All right, Virginia. For those studying promo work and trailer, what makes for good homework? Well, listening, first of all, is good homework. But sometimes when you're listening, you don't have the criteria for exactly what you're listening for. And so I would suggest taking a class with me or somebody else who does promos and trailers or teaches promos and trailers to find your promo and trailer voice. Because especially trailers is very different than almost anything else. There's some similarities. You still have to come from a real place. But lots of times I'll say, well, things live in a box of a particular size. And the trailer box is very small and very specific. Thomas, have you ever heard your hair move against the headphones through the mic before? Does that mean the gain on the mic is too high? Not necessarily. A lot of times when I'm in session, depending on the kind of shirt I'm wearing, I'll have engineers say, oh, yeah, listen, can you move your hair back? We can hear it rubbing against your shirt. You may be recording a very soft passage, or the microphone, say you're using a 416 and it's a little bit off in the distance. It's still picking up a lot. And then if you've got like a U87, they hear everything. So a lot of times I end up tying my hair back, but I'm kind of careful about what I wear when I'm going into a session. And I've even thought about having a line of quiet clothes. Dave Fennoy's voiceover quiet clothes. Guaranteed not to rustle and make noise when you're doing your voiceover. All right. Trakina, do you know if there are any market ADR looping in the Bay Area? Also, how often do you recommend updating your demos? There are people that tell you, I'll answer your second question first. There are people who will say you should update them every year. If you can, great. But I think every couple of years is okay. One of the things you can do in updating demos, say you've gotten your demo done, you really like your demo, usually you like it for about 6 months and you hate it. You like your demo. Instead of completely changing it, just add new work to it. You can pull this out and add something different in. Update it that way. Sometimes you can update it by switching things around. Maybe this particular read that you had on it wasn't so in vogue when you did it, but now it's in vogue, so bring that closer to the front. Pull that thing off that was on the front that's not working for you anymore. Replace that with something new. And do I know if there is a market for ADR looping in the Bay Area? I would not be surprised if there is. I don't know of any in particular. I think most of that you're going to find in Los Angeles. Most of the shows, even shows that are produced in other places, often end up here for the ADR work. All right, Molly Page, what's going on? Have you ever worked with Mark Rao? Oh, yeah, that's my buddy. I have worked with Mark Rao, and I've worked at Mark Rao Studios, and every time we see each other, oh man, let's get together, get a cup of coffee. That's been going on about 5 years. We never get to get that cup of coffee because when I'm busy, he's not, and when he's busy, I'm not. It's insane. Jen Henry, hey, wonderful. What's the best way to present yourself on paper to the studios, casting, producers, games, or is it likely moot for non-union talent? Well, unfortunately, there's a lot of non-union work out there, so I don't see them necessarily turning you down because you're not union unless they are. And even then, there are, I'll leave it at that. So presenting yourself on paper, everybody's busy. Don't write long letters. They're not going to want to read them. You might write a letter and let them know who you are, what you do. If you can find out a little bit about their company, let them know that, what you appreciate about them, what you've heard about them, somebody that's been working with them that said nice things about them. And then make sure they have your website address, your email address, your phone number. I actually think the internet is the best way to get in touch with people now. If you're going to use the mail, I might try something like a postcard that nobody even has to open. They can look at it. Oh, well, who's this pretty girl on the front? Oh, Jen Henry. Well, she's got a microphone there. She says, Jen Henry voiceover. And flip it over, and it's got all your details. Also, get as much information about them as you can, their email address, telephone numbers, and all that before you get in touch with them. Chances are they're not going to be calling you right away, and you can call and, hey, did you get this? So forth and so on, and email them the same information. It's kind of like advertising. We buy the products we see advertised, and one advertisement generally doesn't get it. It's repetition and repetition and repetition that gets people's attention. All right. What's going on, Molly Page? Blaine Jones. Virginia Watson went down to NAMM. I have some friends down at NAMM. I didn't go this year. I sometimes stop by and kind of sneak in. But NAMM can be overwhelming. And there's so much technology, which brings up the question again, oh, gee, what do I get? What microphones do I get? What preamps do I get? So forth and so on. Well, listen, don't try to reinvent the wheel. I was talking to a young lady, I think it was in London. And she was telling me that somebody talked her into a dynamic mic and a particular preamp, telling her that this will give her the same kind of sound as a condenser, as a very good condenser mic. Then why not just buy a really good condenser mic and the preamp that goes with it? And nowadays, really good mics or good mics don't necessarily cost that much. I have some pretty expensive mics, but you can buy a good mic for a couple $100, $200, $300, $400, in that $200 to $500 range. There's some very good mics. And you can get decent preamps for under $1,000. And there's some for even under $500. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. That person that is telling you the exact opposite of everything you're finding on the internet and everything that you'll find for free at different people's websites like George Whittam, that's not the person to listen to. There's a reason that every studio you go into in Los Angeles and pretty much around the country, you're going to find Neumann, you're going to find Sennheiser, you're going to find AKG, you're going to find Blue. There's a few other, Telefunken if they've got some money, and a few other mics. But you're not going to find any dynamic mics for voiceover in anybody's studio. All right. Will you be at VO Atlanta? I am sorry, I will not be there this year. Still, it's a great place to go. It's going to be a fantastic convention this year, but I won't be there this year. A friend of mine will be doing voice acting for video games, Zach Hanks. He has directed. He has been a talent. He has taught in the university level in Texas. He now lives in Atlanta, and he'll be covering video game voice acting this year, and he's very good. Arturo, thanks for answering my question. Holla at me anytime you're in Barbados. You know what? That sounds like a plan. Please make a line of quiet clothes. Thank you, Jen. I'll have to do a lot of research before that. But will I make them in China? Thomas, I'll be your first clothing line customer. Thomas, you have long hair too, don't you? Yeah, well, that might be a reason for us to cut our hair, but I ain't doing it. Have I ever worked with Peter Spellos? I don't believe so. Tell me more. Just saying hi to my favorite voice actor. Oh, Elliot, that's very kind of you. Always look forward to listening to you every Wednesday. Alexi, what's going on? Tom Daniels, Daniel Davis, Susan Sharif, Lynn Connor. Well, thank you, Steve Porter. I'll miss you too. So nice to hear from all of you on this every week. And boy, I guess I was rolling through questions here. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Oh, let me mention again, Connection Open. I still believe this is where the world is going to. And the Connection Open deal is still open. If you go and sign up and then send a message to Randy at Connection Open, he will hook you up with 15 free passes. And just try it out. Just try it out. You will be amazed. It has incredible headroom. Randy Morrison, no to the haircut. As a matter of fact, that's the Randy at Connection Open. Incredible headroom so that you can have crystal clear recordings at very loud volumes. That's one of the things that impressed me the most. And how fast it is. It's faster than your cell phone. If you're on with Connection Open with someone and you're talking to them on the cell phone, that Connection Open connection is going to be faster. All right. Hey, yeah, I know, Chris. I miss being at the workout, but I was busy. What are the best studios to audition for your VO projects? Okay, I'm gonna. You're Evan. Are you in Los Angeles? I'm gonna assume that you are. Several studios will rent you time to do your auditions. I think the going rate these days is about $25 an hour, which is it might be $25 for half an hour. But it's a decent rate. It's much less than you'd be paying if you were a producer putting something together. I think the Voicecaster does that. I think you could also, at Voice Tracks Los Angeles, I think they do it as well. There are a few others. One thing I would suggest, go to the voiceoverguide.com, and there will be a list of studios, not only in Los Angeles, but in New York. Also a list of rates, a lot of information there, a list of union rates for various jobs. And when you're setting up your website and you're setting up that your fees, your rate sheet, that's a good place to start. So I answered a question nobody even asked, but there it is. Peter Spellos has been in several movies and is currently doing several characters for the animated Transformers series. He teaches acting and improv classes. Okay. Don't know Peter. I had an interesting thing happen today. I had a student, as a matter of fact, just before this. And I always ask him, now, what have you been doing in between time? I open out any questions, thoughts, challenges, successes. And he goes, well, I've been going to a lot of websites and learning a lot of acting websites where I can watch the videos for free. And basically, they're telling me the exact same thing you're telling me. Yeah. It's all about letting the character come through you. It's all about being a real person, connecting with a real person. It's not about, I'm going to say the words in a certain way. It's about honest emotions, thoughts and feeling, worldview, condition. You are reflecting the human experience, especially in video games, but every other media. We want to listen to, we want to hear from people that we relate to, connect with. We don't trust this guy anymore because he sold us too many used cars. You don't have to get rid of that character because that will be a character in something. But when you're being a voice for commercial, you want to be real and honest. And I'm not talking about the energy level. I'm talking about where you're coming from. Tell me, don't sell me. How much of a difference is there between acting with the other actors as opposed to just acting with yourself? Well, unfortunately, in video games, 99 and 100% of the time you are by yourself in the studio. Animation, it used to be always you were ensemble, not necessarily these days because people are in different places, have studios often. You're working by yourself or just with one or two other actors. I think the opportunity for great performances that fit together are always more likely when you have two actors working off of each other's energy. But video game developers and producers work very hard to make sure that within the script, the people who are having conversation with one another are having conversation at an energy level that complements one another. Hi, Dave, my mentor. Really, man, what do you think about the Motu interface of the digital performer DAW? I've heard it's used in London. Any comments? I don't know the Motu interface. I will have to look that up. The Motu interface, or if somebody can just, pop that in, a little information about it. Maybe it's something I do know and just don't know when you say MOTU. Check It's awesome. Oh, thank you. Somebody put up, let me tell myself. If you're interested in private lessons or you have a group and you'd like a speaker or a teacher for a workshop or something, you can go to my website, DaveFennoy.com/studyVO. As a matter of fact, you can just go to DaveFennoy.com and then look up at the top, Study VO. Click, and there it is. You're welcome, Lynn Connor. There is a huge difference between the recordings, videos, and live training from Dave. Don't get me wrong, Dave's videos are great, but live is always so much better. Well, thank you. I prefer live. And when I say live, I don't necessarily mean one-on-one. That's great too. I really like my workshops one-on-one. I like working with actors that way. I think you actually get a better deal working with me and some other coaches via the internet. And to me, I can see you, I can hear you, and once we're done, I send you the video of our session so you get to relive it again, which may be painful. I don't know. Kidding. All right. How important is a social media presence to get clients? More and more, it's important. I know in the case of cartoons and video games, often your media standing, your social media standing, how many followers you have, how many Twitter people you have, and whatnot, will make a difference. It's not going to help you if you don't have any talent, if your auditions are terrible. But I could see sometimes they're trying to make a decision between voice A and voice B, and they like them both the same. That might be the tiebreaker. I have also seen people get hired strictly on their social media standing. You know, somebody that has like 1 million followers here, and they're known as a media influencer, but they had no talent, and mistakes get made sometimes, and sometimes that person gets hired, and they discovered that social media standing isn't enough. We need some talent. So come up with the talent. Be good at what you do, first of all, and keep working on building your social media standing. Virginia, I prefer in person. Yeah. Where's my video? LOL. Okay. Lynn Connor, do you have to memorize your script in VO? Or are you reading with meaning and feeling and intent and subtext? You rarely get a chance to learn or memorize your script in voiceover. In video games, as a matter of fact, and actually when you think about it, it's not that different than most other things. The first time you're performing is the first time you're seeing that script. The first time you're seeing the script is when you're performing it. The same way with commercials. You might audition a commercial, but if maybe you're going to be the voice of 5 or 6 or 10 or 20 commercials over the course of, you're not going to see those until when you're working. Same way with promo, same way with narration. They may send you a narration script a day or two before, but oftentimes, I know for me, a lot of times I've gotten the script early and didn't really have a chance to study it. So you need to do two things. One, work on your sight reading. I told a student today, listen, spend 15, 20 minutes a day, maybe not even that much. Spend 5 or 10 minutes a day reading out loud. As a matter of fact, you'll do better shorter periods over a longer period of time. So every day for 5 or 10 minutes, as opposed to, once a week for an hour. To just get used to read different things. Read some science, read some newspapers, read some sports, read a variety of different things with a variety of names and concepts and ideas. One, you're going to learn some things, and your brain, your reading brain, will function better. What I always suggest, Lynn, to go further than, so you're not memorizing the script and you're just getting the script now, and you said, are you reading with meaning and feeling and intent and subtext? Yes, you are. But I think we're kind of approaching it backwards when we say, well, I want you to read with meaning and feeling and intent and subtext. What I would say is I want you to know who it is that's speaking. If it's you, what part of you, what worldview, what mood, and who are you speaking to? And then worry less about the words and more about the honesty of what you're thinking and feeling. And if you're in the honesty of the character you're playing or the you that you're being, the words will come out true. You might have to take a couple of takes because you haven't seen the script before, you didn't get a chance to read through it. I get that. But instead of trying to make the words have meaning by how I'm going up on this and I'm going to stretch this word, be true to the character that you are, and all of that will happen. The words will take care of themselves. I I started taking improv classes at the Groundlings. Will that help improve VO? Absolutely. Improv classes are one of the best things you can do. And sometimes it even pays off. You've got a commercial or a cartoon, and the improv just starts coming out, and bloop, you've added something that becomes invaluable, and now you become a favorite because they can count on you to help with the creativity. Reading is a must-do, right? Absolutely. Years ago when I was a disc jockey, I had a short stint teaching at a place that's no longer there, I hope, because I'm going to name them, Unilex College in San Francisco. And I was incensed. It was a mill. People could apply and get a loan, and anybody that could qualify for the government loan could get into this school, supposedly, to help you become a disc jockey. Well, not everybody is cut out to be a disc jockey. You have to really be able to read well and speak well as a disc jockey, even if, you speak in such a way that a lot of people don't think you're speaking well. You have to communicate, and you have to communicate quickly, and new fresh pieces of paper with new fresh words are put in front of you all the time that you have to read live and make it happen now. And they had a lot of people that really should have gone through a remedial reading course before taking this course. They were at a loss. Not only did they have to read to perform, but they had to read to get information to learn how to perform. So yeah, reading is a must. As a matter of fact, I don't care what you're doing in this life. Reading is a must. When can we expect? Is it time to swap feature film? Well, Jerry Rapp, you're the guy who wrote it, so you'll have to be the guy. All right. Luke DeVille, that was a little inside joke. I'm sorry. You're welcome, Lynn. Luke de Villiers. Hello, dear sir. Long time no see, and you look outstandingly good as always. Merci. I know it's a bit off topic of the VO, but if I may ask, I believe you have a very good singing voice. Why haven't we heard any music from your own? Best to you, dear Sir Fennoy. Well, I used to have a pretty good singing voice. I don't think I'm the singer that I once was. Every now and then, though, when I'm in the shower, I impress myself, and then I'm out of the shower singing, and I don't. I used to be a pretty good singer, though. I think not singing and a lot of damaged voice in video games has taken some of that away. Jeffrey Oliver, when you're starting out, is it better idea to take a group class or a one-on-one class first? I suggest classes. When you're just starting out, I really like to see people take a group class for a couple of reasons. When you're up there on the spot with that piece of copy in front of the class, when it's not you and you don't have to worry and be nervous, you get a chance to benefit from the successes and failures of your fellow students. You get a chance to see where you are in comparison with them in terms of their ability, their talent, compared to yours. Maybe you find out that, wow, I really do have a talent for this. Or maybe you go, I got a lot more work to do, and these guys are pretty good, and they're just starting out too. And maybe you find out you don't like it. So take a class first. It can be really tough up there when you're by yourself. Well, not by yourself. When you're in front of the class, I understand that, but you're gonna learn a lot from what your fellow students do. If you're taking, if you're starting off with one-on-one, I think sometimes you don't get the perspective you want to have on where you are. If you've taken a class and then you take some one-on-ones, as they call them in England, or private coaching lessons, you've already developed a little perspective. You already know, oh, geez, I'm right in the middle of the people I took the class with, or I'm at the top of this class, or, geez, I need a lot more work. You have an idea of that. Whereas if you just start off in private, you don't. Sight reading is a real pain when you've lost or shattered your glasses. Had a bad experience when I thought my eyes would adjust. I could sort of read most of it, and I got lost in the lines. Yeah, really bad experience. Never again. Always carry an extra pair, right? Well, I don't wear glasses, so I don't have an extra pair to bring. But I think that's a very good idea. I'm a great believer in having backup. So yeah, if you're somebody who really needs your glasses, take them. Brings up another thing I've noticed a lot. Students of mine reading off of their phones. And, well, my eyes aren't good enough anymore, or I don't feel like they are. I'm not comfortable enough to read off my phone anymore. Come to think of it, I never did. I like my copy, I won't say as big as I can make it, but big enough for me to see it very clearly. That I don't have to use any brain power to decipher what is on the page. I want to be able to see it, and that's it. I know it. I know what's there. You'll notice as I'm reading the comments on the side here, the questions, that print is pretty small, and I have to move over and look a little bit. That takes a little more brain power. Now, when you're in the studio, you do not want to have to, let me decide. That little brain power there, I have to decipher, takes you out of the read. Now you can't be fully the character you want to be, except you'll be the character that you want to be that can't read the paper, and you're trying to decipher it there, and that's probably not what you want it to sound like. And no matter what it is you're thinking, no matter what it is you're feeling, some of that's going to come out. It's like if you've taken VoiceOver 101 and you're selling McDonald's, but you don't eat McDonald's because you're a vegan, but you still want that McDonald's money, and somewhere inside your head is going, God, oh, that's disgusting. It's a cow. It's not even a real cow. It's a synthetic cow on synthetic bread with synthetic. Oh, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Meanwhile, you're trying to say, hey, McDonald's, it's great. You're going to love it. That negativity is going to come out in your read. The person listening to your audition may not know exactly what it is, but they're going to know something's not right with that read. When we're in the business of selling stuff that maybe we don't use, getting you to watch TV shows that maybe you personally don't watch, playing characters you wouldn't want to be associated with, you have to give yourself permission to do that. You have to address that in your own mind and then do it. All right. Hey, Dennis Kleinman. Love this guy's voice. Dave, if you ever want to exercise the singing vocals, come join our jam sometime. I saw a video of you guys. You guys were good. I'm not sure I want to embarrass myself like that. You know, when the note's here and then you go for it and I didn't quite make it. Oh. All right. Anything that I missed? Oh, I think unless we got to, here we go. What is your position when clients need super speed auditions and force us to send WhatsApp voice note audio? I've never had a client ask me to send something via WhatsApp. If that's what you meant, or maybe that's a typo or a self-correct or something. When clients need super speed auditions. Now, when you say super speed auditions, I'm hearing one of two things. Either, it's very fast, or they want it very fast in terms of, I just sent it to you, can I get it in 5 minutes? Or, I know it's a lot of words, but can you fit it into 5 seconds? You can practice to be able to speed up, to say things faster. Start slowly and speed up a little bit. One of the things they also do, well, of course, they speed things up digitally. I'm on a lot of Lexus spots as the tag voice all over the country. And from time to time, that's exactly what they do. I've given them a read at a nice clip, and then they've sped it up, and so it sounds like that. If you want to learn how to speak fast with a particular something, which you'll get a lot of the legals on the ends of things, say it slowly first. Get it in your mouth. Say it slowly first, and then faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. And two things will happen. One, that particular thing you'll be able to do faster, and you'll kind of train yourself to be able to speak faster. In terms of the client wants this now, that is the nature of the beast these days. I can't tell you how many auditions I get. Can we get this back in an hour? It's 10 o'clock. I need it by 2, which actually is pretty fast because you have other auditions, you have work. As a matter of fact, one today, I got an audition today. They needed it back at 2. I was in the studio at 2. It came after I left, and it was due before I got back. That just happens today. Let's see. Thomas, you always ask such good questions. Oh, okay. I see. Andrew was saying they want it very fast by phone using WhatsApp. Well, WhatsApp, you can call any place on the planet, and perhaps that's what you're saying. I don't think WhatsApp is any different than, anything on your cell phone. And there are times that I've done auditions on my phone, and no, it's not the best quality, unless you've got your little Apogee mic that you can stick in there. But if they can get a sense of your read and who you are, that's enough, often. I know a lot of people, myself included, who have done auditions in our cars on a cell phone with nothing but the microphone on the cell phone, and booked it because the read was good. The quality, but the read was good. What are your standard questions you ask the client director when you're preparing the script? I want to know, now when you're talking about preparing the script, I'm going to assume you mean video games, maybe, but I'll talk in broad terms. I want to know who the character is and what their point of view is, how they feel about it. Now, when we get into video games and cartoons, where are you? The person I'm talking to or the people I'm talking to, how many are there and where are they? What's the action that's going on? What am I doing while I'm saying this? How do I feel about what I'm doing? All of those things. Who is this character? What's his worldview? What's his condition? Is he sick? Is he happy and well? Is he dying? All those things you want to know. The more you know, the better. And that's why every actor needs that's why every actor needs a director, because we make decisions, but sometimes they're the wrong decisions. I had the good fortune of working with Chris Zimmerman today, who's a great director who very quickly can point you in the right direction. And you've given a decent read, and it works, but it's not exactly the direction they wanted you to go in. So she's able to say, oh, no, you feel kind of fatherly towards this person. And now that changes your read. You're intense, but you can't be loud. That changes the read if I had been too loud. You're barking orders to soldiers. How many soldiers? Is it 10? And where are they? How far away are they? Oh, it's 50 soldiers, and they're way over there. Changes everything. Lynn Connor, continuing so basically it's a cold read, but you must be able to break down your script in a short period of time, knowing who you are and the to be, knowing who you are, the to be, who you are talking to, Is it a sale, commercial, a film, etc.? Yeah, no matter what. You're not just saying words with a smile or a frown. You're somebody with a particular worldview that's sharing whatever it is you're sharing, no matter what the genre is. I've had 20 minutes to review a script before performing it, so there is a little bit of time to prep yourself usually. Yeah, especially in a commercial, they're going to give you a little time to go through it. One of the things I like to do, even when I'm auditioning at home, I like to go one read through. I've kind of looked it over, and sometimes what you're hearing in your head is not what comes out of your mouth. If you record it one time with I'm not sending this one in. I'm just recording it because, I've decided this is who I am. This is how I feel about it. This is what these words mean. And you do it, and then you listen back, and you're like, okay, it's okay, kind of, sort of, but it's missing something. You'll hear something that you didn't hear in your head, didn't see when you were preparing it. There may be some meaning there that somehow escaped you. So, just do that first take and see where it falls and then fix it. And you actually end up doing that with video games, even though, we're doing it right now. Usually the lines are short. And that first take, if you're not dead on it, they're going to, they're going to give you the direction. Or maybe you stumble over the words because it was your first take and you missed something. So you get another shot. But if it's taking you 10 or 12 takes, we got problems. Let's see. The read is the Mitch. Thank you, Lynn. Doc Fuller, hi, Dave. Do you do any foreign accents? And do you consider projects that require a foreign accent? Do I do any foreign accents? Yes, I do. I have done the Khajiit. He's kind of Russian, the Middle Eastern. He does all the time. I've done a lot of Africans and a lot of Jamaicans, man, island people. I do a lot of accents. Sometimes it's hard to go from one to the other. But yeah, I do a lot of accents, work in a lot of accents. Do I put them on my demo? Not so much. Not so much. And when I'm working with people, if they do accents really well, maybe put one or two on. But you really want to sell your voice. And I've heard too many demos where the actor starts with an accent that they don't do well, or they put on accents that they don't really do well, and it just shows. And be careful auditioning in accents that you only do so well. If you've gone to a party and you said the same thing in your Irish or Australian or French or whatever accent, for the last 10 years, but that's all you got, don't audition in that accent. If you book the job, you're going to have to do line after line after line after line. I had a young lady student in Seattle last year who she had a killer Scottish accent. She could say anything in her Scottish accent, but she couldn't be anything in her Scottish accent. So although the enunciation and pronunciation was great, changing up the emotions, she couldn't do it. You got to be able to be as facile in that accent as you are in your normal accent. Can you talk more about self-direction and the key points to follow? Wow, this is a biggie. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking about putting together a course on self-direction because everybody's in their home studio now and everybody's self-directing. One of the pitfalls are the questions one asks oneself about your performance. Too many of us ask, wow, do I sound good? That's not the question. The question is, do I believe me? Do I believe this voice? Does this read speak to me? Does it speak? Is the honesty in there? That's the question you want to be asking yourself. and you will improve much faster if that's your question, as opposed to, do I sound good? I have a saying, the more beautiful your voice, the faster bad acting shows up. Because guys with beautiful voices, some women with beautiful voices as well, they're so busy trying to make you hear their beautiful voices that's what they're concentrating on, instead of really talking to you. Did you get the point? That might have sounded good, but you wouldn't have believed that guy, right? Right, yeah. So that's where to start with self-directing. Do I believe the read? Bonjour. Hey, French, how are you? Luc de Villers. Bonjour, ça va? Ça, c'est bon. And what time? Oh, we're at 6:56. You know, I will only go an hour. A couple things. I'm going to leave you with one other thought. Watch television for the commercials, because that's what's out there. If you're interested in narration, watch the shows that are narrated and watch various kinds of narration. If you want to be a sports guy or girl, watch sports. What do they sound like on those shows? And I'm not saying don't be yourself, but just like a musician who learned all the blues licks and then made them their own and became Jimi Hendrix or whatever other great guitar player, listen and make it your own. Listen and make it your own. Know what's booking. Oh, this is what's booking. I can't tell you how many times I hear voice artists who've been around for a while and the style has changed. Well, why'd they hire that guy? He sucks. No, he doesn't suck. He's just different than you. He's doing less than you. There's something about him and his read that to you doesn't seem to be very much. That was just enough. And that's what they were looking for. Johnny Guitar Watson. All right, Virginia. I'm pushing your dad. I got you. What is a character archetype, and how can I find my signature character archetype? Well, if you only have one, you got a problem. You know what? I'm going to save that Assad Shams. We'll talk about archetypes, character archetypes next time, because I am at the limit here. But that is a good question. So next Wednesday, I promise, I'm going to start with that. Dave Fennoy, if you want to do private coaching, DaveFennoy.com, click the Study VO tab. Don't forget about Connection Open, and I will see you next Wednesday.